I tried to come up with some different side options this year that were Thanksgiving-ish, but more fall forward and just different, because I feel like a lot of times one of the things about Thanksgiving that we all love is it's nostalgic and sentimental, and we fix the same things. I will link my Thanksgiving dinner video down below from last year. I spent $25 on a full dinner. Check it out. You'll have a bunch of new recipes. I talk about what things are nostalgic, what things are comfortable for us. But this year I decided to share different things. I will include a few of the recipes that I shared in last year's video in our Thanksgiving this year, because they're traditions, they're staples, but also I like trying new things. So this is a roasted carrot and Brussels sprout in a maple balsamic Dijon sauce. And this is actually inspired from a Green Chef meal that we had about a month or two ago. It was a sheet pan meal and we served it with rice, and it was so good. And I love being inspired by other dishes and seeing what I can come up with. So I just did about a pound of Brussels sprouts and about a pound of carrots. I also was in my fridge getting out the sauces and seasonings and found we had a shallot that really needed used up. So I chopped that up, put it in there, and then did about 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I just had a little packet, so I added that. About 3 tablespoons of garlic, because garlic goes in everything. A little bit of salt, about 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, and about a heaping tablespoon, which equaled about 2 to 3 tablespoons of Dijon. Mix it all up, put it in the oven, 425 for about 30 minutes. It's nice and roasty and beautiful. I just feel like it's a different kind of side. It's Thanksgiving enough. I think it goes really, really well with all the flavors that I was making here today, and I hope you give this one a try.
Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sun said it is just getting better on a blanket.
Is recipe number 2. While my first pot was going and my mushroom gravy was going, I had this pot of potatoes. Like I said, I cut these into quarters. I let those go for about 3-ish minutes. I should have done a little bit longer, but my goal here is to do like a twice baked, if you will, a boil and then baked. I'm not trying to smash them. You don't want them that soft. You want them just soft enough where you can kind of pluck them with a fork a little bit to get some flavor infused. So if you want to go a little bit farther on the boil, you can, but about 3 minutes I found was perfect for what I was trying to do and for my personal taste preferences.
Let me be honest, I don't know one single thing that I haven't done to make you notice me. Let me be real here. When I see you, my heart starts racing, but I don't know if I like this chasing and playing and waiting around. It's a shame that my hands start shaking all of the time when you're around me. But this time, girl, I know what's bothering me. I need somebody to love. Oh, nah, 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 nah. Don't you see what's wrong with me?
I mixed together a really beautiful sauce, and I will put the recipe for this sauce in the description box below. And you're going to heavily cover your potatoes, then pop them into the oven at 375 for about 25 to 30 minutes. You can turn them, you can cover them fully, but I wanted just one side covered for myself because I thought it would look really pretty. But you can really immerse the entire potato into the sauce if you want to. So good. If you cook with oil, you can get a nice crispy potato, or you can cook them a little bit longer. Like I said, you can cover them completely in sauce. These were perfect for me, and here we go. We're gonna plate again. These made my kitchen smell so good. I have shared a lot of lemon, mustard, garlic style potatoes here on my channel. I didn't have any lemon on hand, so I used apple cider vinegar, which is a great replacement. These were so good, and honestly, I just served them with a can of green beans. You could do any vegetable that you would like, but a can of green beans is like 55 cents. It's the perfect 50-50 plate. So good, so inexpensive. This meal literally cost me like 75 cents. And I have a ton of veggies, a ton of starch, which is what I really, really love, and a lot of flavor. And look how beautiful this plate is. I'm so happy with this. As a self-taught bread maker and someone who often tells my viewers, I love making bread. I literally love making bread. I love squishing it and mixing it and playing with it. I just love the process of bread making. I've never made dinner rolls, which is crazy to me. So that's what I had to do. Instead of doing a loaf of bread, I made dinner rolls. This one's super easy. You can omit the butter altogether. I am cooking with butter today for a couple of reasons. One, it's Thanksgiving. Why not? Plus, I'm testing these recipes out that I'm going to cook for other people. The second reason is, unfortunately, my husband had a softball accident a couple nights ago, and he needs more calories in his diet because for about 2 weeks, he's going to be on a mushy food diet. He's not even going to eat these dinner rolls, but I'm going to send them with him to work because they are regular flour. I usually eat gluten-free. So I decided to put butter in most of these recipes because then what he can eat, the calories are higher. So hopefully that makes sense. Anyways, this is a very, very simple recipe. I decided to go the rustic roll look. So when you see my rolls, they're not beautiful, but man, do they smell good. And my husband did have a couple of tiny little bites, like ever smallest bites, and he's like, babe, these are a hit. So it's 5.5 cups of flour and a little bit of butter, a little bit of sugar, get that yeast going, and these are gonna make your kitchen smell so good. So they do have to proof 2 times. The first time in a large proof, and then you're gonna roll them into balls, and they're gonna proof again for 30 minutes. If you've never made your own dinner rolls, this is a great recipe to start with because it's really, really easy. What I do when I'm looking for recipes is I scour Pinterest. I look all over Pinterest, and then I basically eliminate all the expensive parts of the recipes, because you guys ever notice that on Pinterest? I mean, oh my gosh, there's like 75 ingredients, and you're like, why are there so many ingredients when you could literally do this in 5? So I eliminate most of the ingredients and then play around with the recipe, and sometimes I share with you guys recipes that fail. This one, thank goodness, was not a fail. So it's drier here than maybe most climates. So that is another thing to remember when you are bread baking, especially if you haven't bread baked before. You're kind of looking for a specific look or a texture, and it's going to be kind of like a fluffy Play-Doh. I could literally over knead my bread all day because I love to knead it. Maybe one day I'll just make some and de-stress by rolling it out. I made cinnamon rolls the other day. It was like the best activity in the world for de-stressing. Anywho, let this sit for about 30 minutes back into the mixing bowl that you mixed it in. You don't need a fancy mixer. You can just use a spoon or a spatula and your hands. Those are the best utensils in the world. As you can see, after 30 minutes, it blew up so big. And then I'm going to pop it and kind of knead it a little bit more and then roll it into a bunch of little rolls. Have I told you that this smelled good yet? Because there's something about yeasty bread that just smells so good. So because these dinner rolls are basically the same ingredients as every other dough that I make, I have all these things usually on hand. I was out of flour because I made cinnamon rolls last weekend for my husband's work, but these are really inexpensive. And I am going to share the total cost of my little grocery haul that you saw in the intro and the total cost of each individual item that I am making with each recipe today to hopefully give you guys some inspiration in case you are looking for more budget-friendly options when it comes to your own Thanksgiving.
Say
like I said, I just pop these into little rustic rolls. You can tuck them and make them look really, really beautiful and have like the most aesthetic, perfect rolls. But welcome to my kitchen where I like rustic. I don't really care for aesthetic. I don't mind if things are messy because that's real life. I don't love following the bloggers that have like the perfect things because that's not me. That's not what I take the time for. And I think there's something really beautiful about rustic food. So, hi, welcome to my kitchen in case you're new here. I like things that are a little bit messy. I think it just shares that we're real people. And ooh, did you see what else was in the oven there? So here are my dinner rolls. And alongside that, I decided to make a roasted garlic butter. And I'm also going to share that recipe with you because I feel like it's a necessary thing to have butter for Thanksgiving. I literally don't cook or eat oil or butters the rest of the year. But like I said, my family that I'm making this for, they're going to appreciate that on the side. So I took 3 bulbs of garlic, and garlic was super inexpensive at the store today, and I decided to go ahead and roast it. I've been playing around with the time and temperature of my roasting of the garlic because one time I made it, it just I wasn't a fan. I cut off the wrong side of the bulb. I cooked it for too long. It just didn't work out, but recently I have found the perfect mix. So I take a little bit of Pam olive oil spray because you don't want your garlic bulb to stick to your aluminum foil, and a little bit of sea salt. Wrap it up. I like to put it in a glass baking dish, put it in my oven, 425 for about 35 minutes, and it's perfect. I go ahead and let it sit once it comes out of the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes before I touch it so it's not burning my fingers to death. And it squeezes out like perfection.
For this day, it brings a hope of peace, both near and far away. It says we can live together and that we can find a way. The first snow this Christmas is promised for this day.
Perfection. Look at that garlic squeeze. You get so much flavor. If you are looking to do your own garlic, I'm actually thinking about doing my own garlic paste instead of buying minced garlic and just getting a bunch of bulbs, roasting it, squeezing it, and then putting it in the freezer. So if I decide to do that, I will make sure to add it to a video so you guys have that recipe. And then I'll share with you the butter that I have here in a little bit when we're making the mashed potatoes. But I found a new to us vegan butter that was in the store. It had like a sign next to it that said, "This is new," you know. And I decided to give it a try just so we could see what we thought of it. And 3 bulbs of garlic might seem like a lot, but I think it was perfect. Mix it up, put a little parsley on top so you have a little bit of greenery so it's not so yellow. It looks beautiful. You can pop this in the refrigerator or you can leave it out so it's nice and soft to put on your dinner rolls. But I highly recommend giving this one a try, especially if you are going to a Thanksgiving where not everyone is plant-based, so you can introduce them to a new butter that they're really, really gonna love. Okay, moving on to cutting my potatoes. Anyone else think potatoes are the best part about any meal? So I'm just gonna cube and chop these. Nothing special, just making a very simple mashed potato with a really good gravy. And I'm actually cooking with butter today because it's Thanksgiving and my husband loves butter. So I found a new vegan butter at the store and I thought I would give it a try.
I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and
I have shared my potato recipe here a few times, and sometimes I use milk, sometimes I don't. A lot of times I just use the starchy water from the potatoes themselves. So I let them come to a boil them for 12 minutes, go ahead and whip them up. You can either use a little bit of the starchy water and milk, or just the starchy water from the potatoes, completely up to you. I've been doing a combination of both. And after I whipped these up, I was like, ooh, I should have got another bulb of garlic to put in with the potatoes. How good would that have been? I didn't add any butter to those, but I do have butter extra, or that garlic butter my husband could put on top. So he has a little bit more calories in his mushy food diet. So I also decided to do a gravy because he definitely can do a gravy this week. If I didn't already say this, we're eating these meals throughout the week. So I'm not a huge fan of Thanksgiving food, like flavors. I don't really like sage. I don't really like stuffing. I don't like green bean casserole. I don't think I like sweet potato casserole. Maybe I'm making it wrong. Maybe I've had the wrong kind. So my Thanksgiving dishes, my favorite things, mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce. That's what I would fill my plate with, and dinner rolls. Anyways, we're moving on to some gravy here. It's mushroom gravy. I bought my mushrooms in bulk. I bought a pound of mushrooms for $3.99. I love when I can find mushrooms in bulk. And then a small little onion, which I had in the refrigerator that wasn't in my grocery haul. I went ahead and did add some butter. Now you can do this two ways. You can add your onions and your mushrooms and then add your flour and kind of make a roux. But I like to add that in at the end because I get a much glossier gravy, and I think it thickens up and it just works better for me without burning my flour. So I go ahead and add some salt and some garlic. You're never too far from garlic and salt in my house. Have you guys noticed that? I don't need any other seasonings. I use them, but I don't need them. And about 3/4 of a cup of veggie broth. I go ahead and cook that for about 3 to 4 minutes until the mushrooms have released their water and the onions are nice and translucent. And then I just take about 1.25 cups of the oat milk that I purchased. Make sure it's unflavored because I did grab the vanilla flavored oat milk because that's what we normally purchase, and then had to run back to switch it out because I wasn't paying attention. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm using that for a recipe. I don't need that. So I add 1.25 cup of oat milk and then add 1/4 cup of flour. And then I just whisk it until it gets nice and glossy. I leave the heat on at this point. And then once it starts to cook up nice and the flour is all kind of incorporated, I go ahead and turn the heat off and just let it sit, and it will thicken really, really nicely. It'll get super glossy, super thick, and it's really flavorful. You can add a bunch more seasonings to this if you'd like, but I think it's perfect with a mashed potato that also has the skins. I'm sharing a lot of variety today with potatoes because I feel like they are something that most people either make mashed or bake. Correct me if I'm wrong, but let's add some variety. Maybe you want to couple different side items with potatoes. This one is so good. You're going to take these little potatoes. You can buy the multicolor, the regular color, the reds, the yellows, whatever you like. Bake them in the oven 25 minutes and then pull them out, smash them down, and then you're going to add this amazing glaze. It's like a lemony mustard flavor to the top. So good. I think the best thing about Thanksgiving is coming up with a few dishes that are unique, like I said in the beginning, but also adding some that are nostalgic. And I think instead of having, 1 or 2 side dishes, we are the people that have like 10 or 15 because it's just what we like. So sometimes I'll make smaller side dishes, but multiple of them. And I know that's like a lot of work, but I really enjoy it. And I'm hoping this will give you some ideas if you want to bring a couple different side dishes that are really easy, that you don't have to spend a lot of time on. This video will be for you. Make sure you check out the description box because a lot of these recipes are already on my blog. I'm also linking past Thanksgiving recipe videos that I've made in the last couple years, so you guys can check those out. If you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. And also, I have a brand new holiday ebook that is on sale till Thanksgiving, well, technically till Black Friday. So check out the link for that down below. You can get 50% off. There's a code down below, so you're going to get it 50% off, and you're probably going to want to snag it. So in case you want even more ideas for your holidays, you will be able to snag it through that ebook. But all of these recipes are so easy. Make sure you have your pen and pencil nearby if you want to quickly jot down some ingredients. But like I said, you can check out my blog down below. A lot of these are on there. A lot of the recipes for the past few years are on there. I try to make things super easy and accessible. It just depends on how you want to intake the recipe. Whether you want to get it from video form, blog form, or an ebook, I got your back. But all these recipes don't have to be just for Thanksgiving. They can be for Christmas, for New Year's, any get together, a Friendsgiving, or at any time of the year. If you just want some really good, nourishing food, try any of these. And if you try any of these, tag me over on Instagram and let me know what you think. I have so many fun recipes in today's video. If you have not given this video a huge thumbs up yet or subscribe, please do so now. pantry ingredients that I grabbed: Italian gluten-free breadcrumbs, nutritional yeast, turmeric, salt. We're gonna make our own cheesiness. Also going to add some Dijon mustard, which this is like basically gone. There might be a tablespoon or two in there, but it needs used and I need it for this recipe, so there you go. I mean, I always feel like when my things are empty, I need to apologize, but like, hi, this is real life. And also, we need some carrots. And in this bag that we're gonna wash, scrub, not even probably peel, but this is going to be the most of our sauce. If you've seen my cheese sauce before that I make, this is going to be very, very similar, but also like very different because I like making the same thing, yet different. And for my grocery haul, I got 85 cents worth of Yukon or yellow potatoes, $1.25 worth of pasta, and I grabbed the penny instead of the macaroni because I think it looks super fancy. And sometimes this is on sale for $1. It was $1.25 this week, so I feel like that's still a great price. And 85 cents worth of sweet potato. So I got 1 pound and 1 pound, but you could definitely just make this sauce with just this if you want to, or just the mac and cheese, but the seasonings will definitely amp it up. So that's why I got these. And I feel like everybody has things on hand right at their own house. So let's do it. I'm excited. And I'm gluten-free, so I won't eat this, but that's okay. I feel like this is more popular when it comes to the majority of people that I know. They're gonna like this more, especially a plant-based meal versus gluten-free pasta. It's gonna be like a little too weird. You gotta be used to gluten-free pasta because it's like not real pasta. Okay, the first thing we need to do is obviously get our water going for our pasta. That's gonna take about the same amount of time as the sauce. And I'm not even gonna apologize for there being dishes in the sink because, hi, I live here. Anyways, let's get this boiling.
It's December again, I can't believe it. Whatever happened to the rest of the year?
From start to finish, this recipe is literally going to take you about 30 minutes. And I film for most of my recipes. I mean, not all of them. Let's be real. I have a life. YouTube's just a hobby. And I love when you guys show up and hang out with me week to week. Vlogmas is always my favorite part of the year because I feel like I share more of my life, even if it's just cooking and cleaning and daily vlogs. It's just a lot of fun, and it feels like the holidays. This is my 3rd year doing Vlogmas. I didn't do Vlogmas last year because we were moving, and I kind of regret that a little bit. It was a very crazy time, but I kind of wish I would have vlogged so I could have seen more of my beginning of my house moving and everything, so I could just like cherish that forever. But anyways, I love Vlogmas. I hope you do too, and I hope you subscribe if you are new. Leave me a comment if you are new here and say hello so I can say hello back. I love greeting everyone who comes and pops into one of my videos, and I hope you always stick around for more. So really the longest process of this video is just the boiling, and you can really nuke your potatoes if you want to and just make the pasta. It's completely up to you, but since I had the stovetop going, I went ahead and boiled everything. If you don't have a high-speed blender, wait until everything cools down and just use your food processor. It will work just the same for you. Okay, while everything's boiling, I'm gonna get my sauce going because you might as well not wait. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. If I don't have enough Dijon, I'll just substitute with regular mustard. A teaspoon of turmeric. This is gonna give it a nice flavor, but also a really pretty rich color along with the sweet potatoes. It's gonna be beautiful. And about 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast, just depending on how much you wanna add. I'm just gonna add 1/4 cup because again, I know that those that aren't plant-based, it will kind of add a lot of tang, and it'll be cheesy, but I don't want it to be too much. So we're just gonna do a 1/4 cup of this. You're gonna want about a 9x13 dish. This would be an awesome dish to double, so just keep that in mind since you're going through the hassle of making it anyways. Double it, maybe freeze one for yourself or have one for dinner later in the week. I am gonna spray this with some non-stick spray because I don't like my glass to get yucky when it's baking. I want it to be easy to clean, so I'll spray it with some Pam. I also didn't rinse my noodles because I want that starchy water. It is like gold. You're also gonna get a free facial today. I'm actually gonna put this right here and let it sit until my sauce is complete. Man, there's nothing like regular pasta. It just smells so good. First, add some water. I'm gonna add about a cup of the starchy water from the potatoes. Again, it's like gold. A little carrot snuck in this one. I'm just gonna rinse these off with my little strainer. Well, not rinse them, strain them, and I'll be right back. I'm definitely gonna have extra sauce, which I'm all about. You could probably get 2 meals out of this, or you could just add all the sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and add almost all of it, and I'm actually gonna keep some of the sauce for my lunch today. I'll roast up a potato and have some of that sauce. But you could definitely double the pasta and add a little bit more starchy water and 100% have 2 meals. Depends if you want a thicker or a thinner sauce. You could also mix this in a bowl and then dump it back in here, but like, I don't wanna waste another dish. We're just gonna stir it in the casserole dish. I have a recipe on my blog for a white creamy sauce. You should definitely give that a try. If you don't like coconut milk, you can switch it for something else, but it is so good. All right, that's looking perfection. Gluten-free breadcrumbs, because that's what I have on hand. Obviously, I could have just used gluten-free pasta, and maybe I could make some extra gluten-free pasta and then have a side for myself too. Not use it for potatoes, but I'm gonna do about 1/2 cup, which is like 30 cents worth of breadcrumbs, and totally worth it because it gives it that crunch factor. Pop this in the oven for about 20 minutes, uncovered, and you're good to go. This is probably one of my all-time favorite recipes that I've ever shared here on my channel. I feel like I have about a handful of all-time favorites. So when I say that, I really mean it. And I have a second all-time favorite at the end of this recipe video. I'm actually going to share with you a recipe to use with your leftover mashed potatoes. So stay tuned all the way to the end. Plus, I know I said this before, but check all the links down below. I worked really hard on this video compiling all these recipes. So you'll have links down below for everything that you should need. And if I forget something, just be like, I think you forgot something, and I'll gracefully put a link for it for you. So the first thing you're gonna do is chop your potatoes, your sweet potatoes. You can take the skin off if you want to. I really depends on the type of sweet potato or the type of recipe. For this one, I like to keep the skins on, but if you're not a skin fan, you can take it off. It's really not a big deal. I also made a huge batch of this day, and this was not for like a holiday side item. This was just for my lunch. And I'll try to give you some different items you can use in case you don't have the items that I do. So let me know down below, what is your absolute favorite Thanksgiving side? I'd love to know. As you can tell, I already told you I don't really love Thanksgiving food, holiday food. I just like what I like. But if there's a potato at the meal, I'm very, very happy. So I also like to add a little bit of salt. This is a very sweet recipe, but I feel like the salt really balances out because you just have, it enhances the sweetness, but also kind of like adds everything together. So I'm using some balsamic vinegar, some salt, and I think I used about I want to say about a quarter cup of balsamic with all these potatoes. Again, I'll link the recipe down below so you have it, but this is just giving you like an idea. The apple cider fruit spread. It's like an apple butter from Trader Joe's. If you don't have a Trader Joe's near you, just use an apple butter or a pumpkin butter. So good. You can even use an apricot jam if you can't find either of those things. And I used about a half a cup. When this goes into the oven, it just creates like the best glaze with the balsamic, and it has like a tart, sweet taste. It's so good. You can also use maple syrup if you'd like to too, if that's easier for you to grab. But the apple butter, it just takes it over the edge. It's so much better, in my opinion, than maple syrup. But again, that's another component that you could use. You can also use pumpkin butter if you have it. Again, lots of different options, but I just pop them in the oven, roast them for about 40-45 minutes at 425 until they're tender. You can also leave them in there longer if you want them to be like candied. They're so good. They reheat well. They're great for leftovers. Make an extra large batch of these for your next holiday get-together. I saved the best recipe for last, so let's round up this extremely long holiday sides video with how to use your leftover mashed potatoes. So the first thing you're going to do is put them in a Tupperware container, mash them down, and make sure like all the air is out. And they look really goofy, right? They're like kind of gelatinized or congealed or whatever, but that's perfect. So you're just going to kind of plop them onto your cutting board, chop them into fries. I like to do kind of thicker fries because trust me, once they're roasted in either the air fryer or the oven, they're absolutely perfect. So before you make your mashed potatoes, make a double or a triple batch because you're going to want these on hand for the rest of the week. Plus, you can freeze these little Tupperware containers full of mashed potatoes and pull them out later on. As you can see, mine are kind of chunky, which adds so much texture when you're eating these fries, but I just pop them in my oven. I used to use my air fryer. I don't have one anymore. I'm not a big air fryer fan. They're really hard to clean, and I just like get kind of creeped out over that. But anyways, if you have an air fryer, you love your air fryer, it's so much quicker because you can pop them in there for like 8 minutes. But all you're going to do is slice them, put them on a baking sheet, whether it is with parchment paper or aluminum foil, whatever your preference is. I put them in a glass baking dish with a little bit of spray this day, and you bake them. You can also turn them if you want to, so they're really roasty on either side. Adding a little bit of cooking spray is really helpful to get like a lot of crunch out of your fries, and then you can dip them in whatever you want. If you want to make a homemade ketchup or a homemade spicy mustard, or you just want to dip them in barbecue sauce like I did this day, whatever you want to do, they're so good. I also like to heavily season my mashed potatoes, as you saw in the beginning, but this day these were seasoned with like garlic and parsley and salt, but you can add like a lot of different flavors if you want to before you put them in the refrigerator. So you can add like turmeric or lemon pepper or whatever you want. But these are a must try, especially if you have a lot of leftovers. And like I said, you should make extra so that way you can have these later on in the week. I feel like one of the biggest things is, what do you do with your Thanksgiving leftovers besides just like constantly eating Thanksgiving food for like a week? You find creative ways to make your meals different. So 425 for about 25 minutes. These are so crispy. You might not be able to tell here, but they're really crispy on the outside and really soft on the inside. Here you can kind of see the crispiness from the bottom. Again, you can kind of flip them. So good. I hope this is the number one recipe that you use this holiday season with your leftovers. And like I said, you can dip it in anything you want: homemade ketchup, mustard, barbecue sauce, ranch, whatever floats your boat. They're so good. Serve them up with a salad, and it's like the perfect meal. Have an awesome day. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you soon in a brand new video. Thanks for hanging out with me today.